Good evening. Let me tell you something, brother. The forces of nature are all coming together, and the Edmonton Oilers have started the season 5-0. And the most powerful power play in NHL history has been assembled. So let me ask the fans of the greatest game on earth a little question. What you gonna do when the Oilers power play runs wild on you? All right, let's get after it, shall we? 5-0 to start the season. How does it feel, Oil Country? Man, I said last Sunday that I figured we might be, getting our way to 5-0. But it sure feels good right now to be sitting there. Just absolutely incredible to be off to the start that we are. 10 points out of a possible 10 points is all you can ask for from this team. This week, I think by next Sunday we're talking about a team that's 7-0, and that'll tie I believe Oilers record for best start ever. I firmly believe that's within their grasp, and it's exciting. It hasn't been all, Picassos that have been painted in all of these games, but in each game they've found a way to win them. The one thing that's kind of been a consistent thing has been kind of the goaltending that they've been getting has been pretty solid. Zach Hyman is well on his way to becoming a fan favorite. If he isn't there already. Warren Foegele, scored a beautiful goal the other night there too. So that there's contributions happening throughout the lineup, and it's impressive to see. I'm enjoying this so far. I really think that the preseason people were really quick to jump on Keith and Ceci, and Cody Ceci is definitely holding his own. And so isn't Duncan Keith. It hasn't been rock solid from those two, but they've been treading water, and I think a little bit beyond that. And really, that's kind of what we need with the forward group that we possess. Evan Bouchard is a revelation right now, and that should be music to everyone's ears. That he's playing outstanding hockey right now. Tyson Barrie, his game needs to come along. I think he's a bit the guy that's probably in the doghouse more than anybody right now. But we're winning games without everybody's best, and so I mean I think that's promising that you don't need everybody in your lineup to have their best game in order to win. So it's there's some signs. Connor's on a torrid pace, and I mean Leon and Yessi are right there. We saw a little bit of a different 1-2 from the lineups on the road versus at home. McDry kind of gets split up on the road here, and still is effective. Waiting for Yamamoto to kind of start chipping in offensively. I thought he had a better game against Vegas. Wasn't going to the sin bin as much, and causing the other team some problems. Zach Cassian, beautiful goal, nice pass from Keith, and he goes in and scores a beautiful Deekzilla goal, and we're off and running. I'm having to do tonight's show solo. Dash is kind of dealing with some family stuff tonight, so glad to run tonight solo. I don't know how long I'll go for, but definitely happy to talk to you guys about a great start. And we usually do segments of the oil blowout. I don't really have anything to blow up about. I wish Tyson Barrie's defensive game would come along, but that's about the only real negative I have right now. I'm liking what I'm seeing out of our team, and our other segment is what the frack. Well, for what the frack, I think talking about the Toronto Maple Leafs getting absolutely curb stomped last night by the Pittsburgh Penguins, who were missing Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, Brian Rust, and Chris Letang is definitely something to talk about. What is going on there in Toronto? Like, when does Matthews request a trade? Sid Sixero. But honestly, really, like they are off to just a brutal start. Can't keep pucks out of their own net and can't put pucks in the other net. It makes for a tough season. The other thing is what's going on in Chicago. I thought they were going to be a team kind of to watch out for this season. I'm quickly thinking that prediction was going to be proven to be just a brutal one, because they are not off to a fine start either. They definitely are having challenges there in Chicago, and I don't know what the real cause of it is. Marc-Andre Fleury goes from Vezina caliber trophy winner to pedestrian at best, and Seth Jones, I think tonight was on the ice for all 5 goals against, and -5, so he's having a tough go. I thought he'd have a bounce back season. I know Dash was saying that he'd much rather have Seth Jones than Duncan Keith, and right now it's looking like the Oilers are in better shape with that. There's a lot of factors to that. So, but yeah, they're off to a tough start. Looking ahead, we see the Flyers on Wednesday, and Philly's also had some challenges, especially with their goaltending, and then it's next Saturday against the Canucks, second time facing Vancouver, and Vancouver I think is better, a little better than what I thought they would be. But I think that's kind of like, I think those are two winnable games that I'm almost wondering, like, we've got Nashville the following Wednesday, the Rangers next Friday, the Detroit Red Wings on the 9th, and then the Bruins on November 11th. I mean, it's conceivable that our team is in November right up amongst the league leaders, still in the NHL. I don't see a massive drop off here for them. Games start to get tougher in mid-November there, but I mean, until then we could be riding pretty high here, which is awesome. Oh man, this season I think is one to look forward to. I don't think we've had the lineup that we put out there night in and night out that we can right now. It's just a much deeper team, and are able to win games in different ways. And the one thing that's remained consistent is the power play. But now there's a bit of they're dangerous shorthanded with Hyman and Nuge, and it's more than just send Leon over the boards now to win a face-off. Derek Ryan has helped that as well, and I think that actually makes Leon even more dangerous in the circle, is because he doesn't have to take every key draw. They can send Derek Ryan out, so the face-offs that Leon takes, probably don't exhaust him as much as in years past, where he was kind of the only guy that could win a key draw. Now it's kind of spread out. Derek Ryan just plays a really responsible game, and he's so good for Warren Fogle and Zach Kassian. That line is becoming really effective and kind of fun to watch. I don't think we've had a third line like that, that's as effective as that trio since probably 2006. So there's definitely things to look forward to here. I thought Mikko showed pretty well, the last couple games, and hopefully by Wednesday, Mike Smith is probably close to returning. Might not be a bad idea to give Mikko one more game. Putting him in back to back, with 4 days off or something in between starts is I don't have a problem with that myself. Vegas was a depleted lineup, but we were also coming off a back to back, so I think we deserve credit for winning that game and pulling it out. In Arizona, I think the Coyotes played probably as good a hockey game as they're capable of playing, and we found a way to survive kind of the initial onslaught and win that game too. They're not a very talented team. Probably going to be in the Shane Wright sweepstakes when the season's over. But you still got to win the games. You still got to go out and do your thing and play better than the other team and win it. And they did. So it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun being where we are right now and having that start. And we haven't done anything yet, so don't really want to have this arrogance, but it is good to be standing at top of the division, looking at the next game and just keep mowing down opponent after opponent and building towards the playoffs. When Vegas gets healthy, I think they'll improve. But if we get off on a good run here while they're missing their guys, we might make it so that it becomes pretty hard to catch us. And having a division title, or finishing tops in the Western Conference. If you can get to that level, then having that home ice in the playoffs, I think, is key. It sure is different watching a game like the Battle of Alberta going back to last Saturday versus the previous 2 years of an empty building, just looking at decals basically on all the seats with the tarps and stuff like that. So I'm much more enjoying seeing people in the building and all of that fun stuff. So if you have any questions, just shoot them into the chat there, however you're watching, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, or on the Twitterverse, and I'll try to answer. I went into the Hulk Hogan bit, and I was going to do a little Macho Man, basically telling Dash that I told you so, that Keith was going to be all right, but I guess I'll have to break into that another night when he's here. It's really the only two voices I can do, and probably what inspired me to start doing some voices tonight was kind of yesterday watching some Frank Caliendo with Kim last night, and him doing all his voices and stuff, and just sitting around and having a laugh. So I won't do the Hogan every night, but here and there, why not? It's just a season that I think, almost like Ferris Bueller says, sit down and enjoy it, because before you know it, it'll be gone and you'll have missed it. So I'm having fun with this team, watching what they can do. I mean, our defense, I think, is marginally improved over last year, to the chagrin of some, but when that second pairing is on the ice, I don't feel petrified that something bad is going to happen, which I think is a little bit different from the last few years. And, when Nurse and Bouchard are both out there, I feel comfortable with that. Barry scares me a little bit right now with his defensive play. But, the last game against Vegas, I was watching Nurse skate miles again, and just the guy is an absolute Clydesdale out there. He's just a specimen. I mean, I could watch him skate and defend all day long, because when he's in the right position and he just shuts things down, it's just fun to watch the guy go. And I'm beginning to really like, actually, Cody Ceci. In the preseason, everybody was really nervous about the guy and all of that, but it just, the more he's on the ice now, the more comfortable I get. He makes good decisions, and he's a good defender. He's built like a Coke machine. I mean, he's not the tallest guy in the world, but you're not pushing him over. He's a solid frame, so he's making that transition from Adam Larson a little easier, because he can defend well, and I'm enjoying watching him on the ice. The thing that intrigues me almost is if Barry continues to struggle, if he can't find his game, if he almost becomes trade bait at the trade deadline. You package up, him and Mikko and maybe a pick, and you do swing for the fences on a guy like John Gibson. That's something that I think about now. And if you do that, look out. I mean, if you have two really capable goalies going into the playoffs, you could do some damage, because there is the makings of a dangerous team in the playoffs that can come at you in waves now, and we just haven't had that. Last year against Winnipeg and the year before against Chicago, you throw out Nugent you throw out McDavid and Draisaitl, and then there's really nothing coming after it. But now if you team up Leon and Connor and Yessi, and then you go to Nuge and Hyman and Yamamoto. If Yamamoto can find his game, that's two lines, but dangerous. And then that Cassian, Fogle, and Ryan line is a punishing line that can contribute. And it's just it's been a long time, a real long time since we had that. And it's great. And the fourth line hasn't really punched in much of anything, but they also aren't giving up much of anything. So if you've got three lines that can contribute, and one line that doesn't get caved in, you're on your way. So I'm enjoying this. I really am. I hope everybody else is too. I don't know if Oiler fans really are accustomed to not having much to bitch about, and it's refreshing. I mean, I guess Tyson Barrie would be it, but beyond that, I don't think there's too much. I mean, Yamamoto's struggling, but if he's staying out of the penalty box and playing aggressive, I think he can, you can give him a little bit more rope to find his scoring touch. But I don't know. I maybe it's Perlini in his spot, but Perlini hasn't done much. I see people wanting Tyler Benson to play with skill and see what he can do. So maybe give him a shot, there. But honestly, I haven't seen much out of Tyler Benson that really pleased me. In the Vegas game. Not a lot of ice time, but every time the puck was on a stick, I didn't like what was happening because it wasn't much. That's kind of my thought on Benson anyway. Connor, I don't know if the guy's ever going to stop, amazing us. And I hope not. I mean, it's almost like, they used to say about Michael Jordan that if he was like the Cosby Show and came on every night, I would watch, because he would do something every night that would blow you away. And Connor's kind of the same thing. Now he's added this one-timer into his repertoire, and it's starting to cash, and that's what good players do. I mean, they try to strengthen their strengths and make them even stronger, but they also look at areas of weakness and try to turn them into a strength, and that's kind of what Connor's been doing. Noticing two guys working on their skating after practice, and it's Connor McDavid and Jesse Puljujärvi. So that tells you what these guys are all about. There's a strong work ethic there, and I'm excited. I just, every day these guys want to go to the rink and choose to get better, and probably had a deal with Tippett. You win the game and you guys can do whatever you want tonight in Vegas, and I'm sure that was fun for them. Hopefully someday somebody tells us all the stories about what happened, but so AP on YouTube here says Barrie had a slow start to last season too. Yeah, I thought much of last season Barrie had his struggles, defending. He didn't have his struggles on the offensive part of his game, contributing goals and assists. But he did have his troubles defending. And I thought actually in the playoffs last year against Winnipeg, Barrie was fine defensively. I didn't see him struggling mightily defending. His offense went away, and maybe that was, part and parcel. Didn't focus so much on the offensive part of his game, focus more on the defensive part. But now this season, it doesn't seem like he has either part of his game really, really firing on all cylinders. And, we're still winning hockey games, so I think you can extend more rope. And, but you have to be kind of diligent not to, stifle what's happening with Evan Bouchard, to be giving Tyson Barrie, tons of rope to find his game. I think in games where it's crucial to have, people defending at a high level, right now I want to see Nurse with Bouchard. You can let Tyson Barrie find his games against competition that maybe isn't quite as strong and isn't a divisional rival like against the Flyers. There, it might be the way to go is to put Nurse and Barrie back together, just to let Barrie find it a bit more against an Eastern Conference team. But when you're playing Western Conference teams and divisional rivals, you might want to split them up until Barrie figures out how to defend again. This season's interesting. I mean, you can tinker with some things. Like I've thought about personally, putting Draisaitl out with Hyman and Puljujarvi, a line that could forecheck the shit out of anybody, and if they have the puck in the offensive end, good luck trying to get it back from them. I don't know if Yamamoto finds his game. That's another weapon in the arsenal, and once this team kind of gets everybody going, it could be dangerous. We could be back into 8-4 kind of hockey games, and it's exciting. We haven't seen the offensive arsenal that these guys can put out on a night in, night out basis. Wayne even admitted with that little interview with Gene that this is probably the best power play the Oilers have ever seen, including his days in the 80s, which is quite a statement coming from Wayne. But I think it's true. I mean, you've got Connor, who's a playmaker, but now that he's added that shot, it's just another weapon. And Nuge has that lethal, accurate wrist shot and snap shot, and he's a good passer and playmaker as well. And then you've got Leon with the passing ability, on the backhand and kind of flying saucer passes that we've never seen before in the NHL. Period. I mean, I don't know of a better sauce passer than Leon Draisaitl. I really don't, and especially the ones that can go from inside your own blue line to the far blue line. It's just, he's incredible with it, and so you got that, and then you've got Zach Hyman or Jesse Puljujarvi to be that net front presence, and they're both big bodied guys that are hard to move and have really good hockey sense of where to stand. I mean, that was, before when we had Milan Lucic, I thought he would have been a great net front presence, but yeah, he's a hard body to move. You're not moving him from where he wants to be, but he never stood in the right spot. He always stood, off to the side of the goalie. He was never really totally in the goalie's kitchen, making them have to move to see pucks. He stood off to one side, and it was, for me, it was really ineffective, as a net front guy. You're hard to move, yeah, but you don't need to be moved because you're not in the right spot. And then on the back end, there's Barrie with that big booming shot, and Nurse is getting his time, and there's weapons there, and it just becomes a lethal power play that I don't know. Last year and the year before, we had a pretty good power play, but I think when the dust settles at the end of the season, it's going to be the best power play yet, even better than last year's, and I mean that's incredible. If that PK kind of works its way up to the top of the league, we could be challenging, honestly, for a President's Trophy by the time things are all said and done at the end of the year too. I don't want to have that President's Trophy curse, but it's pretty impressive to climb the ladder and potentially be one of the best teams in the league. And I don't think I'm offside really in saying that they definitely could be there. And it's not a finished work either. I mean, if there's areas of need, this you can still make some changes. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a move, trying to improve kind of the 5-6 spot too on the defense, like Slater, Cuckoo, Chris Russell, that kind of area. I wouldn't be shocked if there's a move to kind of strengthen that a little bit as well, especially if somebody falls through the cracks and a pretty skilled player all of a sudden becomes cheaper. If you improve that area a little bit and just kind of nibble at little areas of weakness and improve that, this team could be lethally dangerous. I mean, they already are. Yeah, I think so. The next games kind of is Philly on Wednesday, and the Canucks next Saturday. The Kraken Monday the 1st, Predators November 3rd, New York Rangers November 5th, and the Red Wings November 9th, and then it's the Bruins on Remembrance Day. And honestly, Tom Gazzola said this, and I think I'm with him. It's not beyond the realm of possibilities that this team is undefeated all the way until they see the Bruins, and that night would be a hell of a hockey game. I believe that one's in Boston, on kind of an eastern. I think that's an eastern road swing there. Exciting times to say the least. I'm liking what we're getting out of our goaltending so far this year. There's been a couple little blemishes and mistakes, like it hasn't been perfect by any stretch of the matter, but it's been good. It's been solid. Mikko looks like he's got his confidence back, and he looks actually more Mike Smith-like in his puck handling and going behind the net to make plays and stop the puck and shoot it out. Looks more comfortable in the net. Still at times I think he's caught kind of deep, but I don't know if that's ever going to go away. But he doesn't look lost in there. Like he looks comfortable. And he's making like key saves at key times. But definitely hope that whatever happened to Smith there wasn't too serious, because I think we need them both. I'm not sure. We'll see, Stuart Skinner in this call-up if he's just there to kind of help out. But if he does get a game, what I saw out of him in the preseason, it wouldn't be guaranteed loss night as far as I'm concerned. I think he can hold his own in there and do all right. The red hot Perlini has come back down to earth now that the regular season has started, but still, when he's out there, he's not making glaring mistakes, which is good. He's physical, he skates well, and I don't have a problem with him. That fourth line, if they start to chip in too, that would be just, outstanding. That Colton Sevier too, the first game of the year against Vancouver when, or maybe I'm mixed up, but when Keith kind of got ran there and he came to his aid. That's endearing to your teammates. And back in days of old, there might be people running after Myers, in the next game. I don't think, I think that's gone, that's done. And if there's an opportunity, they'll lay a lick on the guy, but I don't see anybody going after him for kind of vigilante justice. I think that what happened in that game, and I think that's over and done. And kind of on to the next. It's we're coming off a little bit of a few days off when we do see the Flyers. So if Philly is gonna have a legitimate shot at that game, they're gonna have to score first and come at us hard, catch us with kind of dead legs. But I think we'll be just fine. I think these guys, they take their days off, and I think they had fun Saturday night, and today went and watched the Raiders game, and take it easy, a couple down days, and then probably back on the ice tomorrow and start to get their minds back into playing. And I think Wednesday you'll see not much of a drop off from what we saw in Vegas. Name Cardinal on YouTube says, "Hey Mike, you're doing good." Well, it's hard to run the show solo now, after getting used to having my sidekick Dash, and I wasn't really prepped to be solo, but as a wise fisherman once told me, while you're busy making plans, life happens, and that's kind of what happened tonight. Little family emergency kind of for Dash there at home. Everybody's okay, but just he's got to deal with some things, and so he couldn't be here tonight, but he'll be back next Sunday. Halloween episode. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to dress up for that. I guess I probably will have a costume of some sort, but I got some ideas. But if you have any ideas, you can throw them out there, and maybe I'll take you up on them. But somebody gave me a pretty good idea that I think will be pretty funny. So sort of hockey related, sort of golf related. If that didn't, totally tell you, then I got nothing. Pretty good hint. And speaking of name Cardinal, if you if you're on YouTube or Twitter, Indigenous hockey cards, the guy has an outstanding collection of Indigenous hockey cards, and he's a great human being. If you ever get a chance to talk to him, and hopefully sometime we can get him on the show and we can talk about things concerning Indigenous hockey players and everything else. The guy's a big football fan too. U.S. college, I think Oregon is the team that he likes to follow. And I'm only a little bit sad that my Red Sox lost out to the Houston Astros in Game 6 of the playoffs. Oh, that's funny. AP on YouTube says, dress up as a Leaf. They are scary bad. It's a family show. I don't know if I could be that scary for Halloween. I'll dress up as Ryan Rashog and try to run everybody out of town. Um, yeah, the Halloween. I gotta find a costume for Dash too. See what he wants to be. Oh. And if he can hear me and he's anywhere near his podcast room, he could hop on. But I'm not sure if he's around. I just heard the sound from his podcast room. He had to leave just before we came on, so. But I think he's done for the night. I'm not going to go too much longer. I think I've said pretty much all I've got in my head right now. Just looking forward to the upcoming week as always, and seeing these guys try to keep this thing going. It's been pretty special so far. It's fun to watch again. Because they're never really out of a game. You give these guys a power play, with when you're leading, and all of a sudden the momentum shifts, and pretty soon you're trailing. They can score right away, and when it's tied, they kind of smell blood in the water, and they score a goal, and snuff out any chance you've got of overtaking them. That was certainly the case against Vegas. The same thing against Anaheim. It just they're finding different ways to beat teams. Whether it's the power play, whether it's depth scoring. It's not McDavid's off to a great start, but it's not all the Connor and Leon show anymore. There's other people contributing. I mean, Puljujärvi's in and amongst the league leaders. Zach Hyman's got more goals than Marner, Matthews, and Nylander, I think, combined. And Warren Fogel's starting to contribute. Derek Ryan's playing a key role. Cassian is looking more and more like the Cassian of days gone by, and I think they're dangerous. I mean, I see people calling for to trade Cassian or whatever. I wouldn't do that right now. You've got a third line that is a line that just is a bitch to play against. They come at you physically and they can contribute, and so that's something that I wouldn't want to get rid of. I mean, how many true power forwards are there in the league? And I think that's what you want on your third line. So unless you can trade Cassian for like a Tom Wilson or something like that, I wouldn't do it. Yeah. Anyway, I don't really have any more in my head, so I'm going to leave you how I always do. Keep your sticks on the ice. Keep reaching for the stars. And go Oilers go. We'll catch you next Sunday, the Halloween edition of Straight Off the Pipe, probably 9 o'clock on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. You can check out the heavyhockey.com website. There's articles on there written by some really good hockey people. Check out Oilers Live show Tuesdays at 6 to 7. I'm not sure who he's got on this week, but usually there's some really good guests on there. And there's also the Forever 99 podcast available on YouTube or Apple iTunes and Spotify, hosted by my good friend Eric Friesen. Puts out some pretty good content with some pretty good guests as well. Some of his content is focused on kind of nostalgia from days gone by, Oilers stuff, and as well as some current stuff. And follow Eric on Twitter. He's becoming quickly the Oilers kind of statistician, always posting stuff about milestones for Leon and Connor and everyone else, which is kind of crazy to think that these guys are already in the conversation for greatest Oilers ever. That's about all I got. So, as I always say, keep your sticks on the ice and keep reaching for the stars. Go Oilers, go. See you next Sunday, brother.